that shutdown that you get so that you shorten the time where you can respond.
Absolutely. Okay. So, freezing up, mind shuts down, you don't do nothing. You're standing there and you're taking punches and stabs, gunshots, who knows what else, all right? That happens because if we for a second go back to the two minds that I talked about, the conscious mind or subconscious mind. The conscious mind, again, it's our mind of cognitive reasoning. It's the mind that takes data and information, computes it, calculates it, analyzes it, and has a discussion with itself of what needs to be done right now, creates a plan and sends it out, and then our body follows that plan. When our conscious mind doesn't work anymore, and it doesn't work because it has too much information that comes in too quickly, while our body is also undergoing an adverse physiological response, all right? And that comes from fear and from stress. Our heartbeat is going 2-3 times faster than it's supposed to. Adrenaline is coursing through the body because we know that now it's survival, fight or flight, all right? And it's just like a computer. You start running too many programs, it doesn't have a proper processor, take it all in, what happens to it? Freezes. You gotta reset, reboot. That's what happens to us. The conscious mind shuts down and says, I'm sorry, too much information, I can't deal with this right now, leave me alone. Shuts down. It automatically, because God made us, He knew we'd face all kinds of problems and complicated situations that we would have to deal with, and that would be one of them. So if we have a conscious mind that doesn't work, we have to have a backup system. That is our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind, contrary to popular belief, is not muscle memory. Muscle memory is not instinct. Muscle memory is repeating something so many times that you can now perform it physically without the assistance and guidance and presence of your conscious mind, okay? Such as walking, all right? When we learn how to walk as babies, toddlers, all right, we obviously don't know what we're thinking, right? But as parents, especially when we see our kids learning how to walk, we understand what's going through their mind, okay? Where they're sitting there and they're kind of going through the whole motions now and learning what's going on and thinking about it, and, okay? That's the conscious mind that's leading that action, where today, none of us think about it. We walk, we do a million different things at the same time without thinking about it because that repetition is there. It's muscle memory. It takes an average about 2,500 to 3,500 times of repeating an action for it to become muscle memory, which means that now the conscious mind can say, you don't need my guidance anymore, do it on your own. The subconscious mind is the instinctive mind. That is our primitive, innate mechanisms to do things that we have to do in life. Somebody comes up and does this to us, what do we do? What's the reaction? We do this, okay? That is our instinctive survival mechanism. We turn away. What are we turning away from? This potential threat, okay? We turn away from it. It's coming from the left side. Our radar is able to pick that up. So we turn where? We usually turn to the right, away from it. Our hands do what? They shoot up to where? In front of what? In front of where all of our vitals are, because we need to protect this, okay? Our body does what? We stay nice and big? No, we hunker down. Why? Because again, there's a threat in the environment. We don't know what it is, where it's coming from, so our mind says, shrink, become a smaller target, hopefully it'll miss us, okay? We also turn away to create distance. These are all things that when you look at them, break them down, it makes so much logical sense. But they are just primitive instinct that happen when we're not even, we don't have the capacity to be able to give thought to them, okay? You freeze, there's this thing called, you heard people when they're in dire situations say, I saw my life flash in front of my eyes. Anybody ever experienced that? Okay, you're in a situation where you think you're about to die. Everything just shuts down, and then in a flash of a second, you see your entire life flash in front of your eyes. Your mind is just shooting all of these images of your whole life from day one until present time. There's a reason why that happens. It's a survival mechanism. Okay, it's because your mind, your conscious mind is done. It's shut down, closed for business. Your subconscious mind doesn't know what to do. This situation is so complex that even it doesn't know what to do. So it funnels back to this library of of all the moments of your life to see when you were ever in a similar situation and what you did then to survive, to pull that program out and quickly make you do the same thing, to hopefully get the same result. Okay? So that's how formable the mind works. Now, when you've got nothing, you got no conscious mind, you got no subconscious mind, you're in panic mode, you're in a high degree of stress and fear of death, that is when you freeze. You go black, you see black, everything shuts out, you get this overwhelming amount of tunnel vision, everything is literally just black, and you hope that you wake up the next day in the hospital and you've at least survived the attack. So how do you contend with this? It is very manageable. It's number one, to a great extent, preventable. And then in the moment, it is also manageable. There are two things that have to happen here. Number one is the issue of fear. Number two is the issue of having a plan to tactically navigate through the situation. So let's look at number one for a second. If you take that whole explanation that I just give you, the whole science behind it, and you sum it up into one word, it's fear. That is the main ingredient that causes everything, okay? You have to know, you can't get rid of fear. There's some situations out there that no matter how many times you face them, the fear will be there, but you can get yourself to a point where your mind and body can coexist with it and it doesn't become a hindrance, okay, like anything else. The only way to do that is to desensitize yourself to what it is that scares you. And I'll give you guys a personal story of how I learned about an opinion to me, I'm translating to advice to give you guys, and how I managed to coexist with this thing called fear. So I grew up loving horror movies, okay? All those stupid Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. I love those. I don't know why I did that to myself, because they gave me nightmares, and I could not shut the lights off in my room, all right, at nighttime when I went to sleep. I mean, that's just how stupid things got with me, okay? But I love that stuff. So I grew up in Toronto. When we moved to Canada, in this apartment building, we had this big yard in the back with a swimming pool, and then it led to this ravine. This big, huge, vast ravine that covers a really good chunk of the northern part of the city of Toronto. And this ravine was pretty cool. We used to play there as kids, go catch snakes and play cops and robbers and stuff. But when the sun started to go down, that place got really eerie and really creepy, okay? And I used to have this recurring dream. I don't remember exactly how old I was when I started having them, but maybe 9, 10, something like that, okay? And this dream, it was crazy because it got to the point that I can already see the things happening in my dream, that I knew where this dream was going. I couldn't wake myself up. I knew where it was going, and I started to feel fear. Okay, when I started to pick up on these indicators where this dream is going. And what would happen is I would be in the backyard of this building, or apartment building, with friends playing. It's a sunny day, sun's out, clouds, blue sky, green trees, everything is all great. And all of a sudden, what would happen is that the white clouds would disappear and gray clouds would move in. The sun would start to disappear. Everything would start to get gray. The trees would start to go from this, lush, green, leafy, summery look to like fall, winter look with like no more leaves and everything is gray and gloomy looking. And my friends would all run away. And what would happen to me is that I would want to run, but I couldn't move. My legs would not go anywhere, all right? Then things started to get really freaky on me. What would happen is my back would be turned to the ravine because I would always turn, like wanting to run with everybody, but I can't move. And all of a sudden, I'm like gliding on the grass being pulled to this ravine. Okay? This is how stupid things would get. I would start to go down the ravine, I'd be standing up, and I'm like looking at the top, like I just couldn't do anything about it. And when I would look all the way down the base of the ravine, it would hit this like patch of this tall grass, about waist high grass, and it would go on forever. And who the hell would I see walking through that field? Fucking, what's his name? Jason from Friday. Okay? That's how dumb it would get. And he'd have his machete and his hockey mask, and he would start walking towards me. And the grass, when it first happened, the grass would start to part and open, but I couldn't see why. Until I would start to get closer to that grassy patch, and all of a sudden his head would appear and his whole body would appear. And then last minute, as always, I wake up, all right? So I would have this dream like for years. And it would just happen over and over and over. And it would get to the point that I'm like, here we go again, right? I'm like, I'm not even resisting anymore. I'm just getting into it, which is a sad thing to do. Because that's the equivalent of being in a situation where you're blacking out and you're like, there's no hope. I'm just gonna give up and keep on taking the stabs, okay? Finally one day, again, I don't know, I may have been around 11 or 12 years old. I had this dream again. And everything is going the way that it is supposed to go in the dream. And I knew what was happening. My friends are running away, dark skies and clouds, and I'm looking behind me, I'm like, here we go, right? The trees are all leafless. Getting down to the cusp of the ravine there, I start going down, see that bastard walking through the field. But things suddenly changed. I said, you know what? To hell with this. I turned around, faced him, and I started walking towards him. I said, fuck it. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna kill, I don't know, but enough is enough. I started walking towards him. And he's walking towards me. And all of a sudden, I don't know how the hell this happened, but I started to fly. I literally started to fly like Superman. And I'm flying around him. Like, can't get me now, can you, sucker? Right? He's just looking around, and then off I go. Never had that dream again since. Wow. Okay? I woke up, and I remember that morning, I woke up, and I'm like, I feel good. I feel like strong, I was a little 12-year-old runt, but inside I felt strong. Like, so this is fear, and this is how you deal with it. Getting into my professional life, when I was older, I started to had 20 years, and I had, amazing training that I've been through. Psychologists and doctors and military people, and police officers, and all kinds of people. And I remember there was one lesson that I got on the issue of fear, and it kind of resonated everything that I felt from that experience of mine, okay? Which this individual was saying, you need to face fear in the eye, okay? You gotta take the thing, the person, the whatever it is in life that scares the hell out of you, all right? That as soon as you think about them, they may not even be real, but you think about them and your heart starts to pound, you start to get sweaty. That is how scary it is to you, that person is to you. You take that emotion and you give it that face. You stick that face on it. And every single freaking day, you spend a couple minutes devoted to looking at it. Straight in the face, straight in the eye. That's what you gotta do. Why are people scared as humans? What is it that we're afraid of? We're afraid of things that we don't know. We're in a situation that is really bad. It's not the bad situation, it's that we don't know the outcome. It's a lack of knowledge. So that's where it starts, okay? People are faced with scary situations, they don't want it to exist because it's too scary. And your mind is so powerful that you can make yourself feel things just by thinking things. And it's that same thing. You need to become accustomed to that feeling of fear and making it used to everyday business. One day I'm happy, today I'm afraid. Doesn't make a difference. I got a task I got to accomplish here. So you look at that face of fear every single day, you get acquainted with it, right up in its face, touch it, you see it, you smell it, and you start to absorb it. Get to that point in time that that fear now is not as powerful as it once was because now you're accustomed to it. It's there. You may not like it, but it's there. Life, unfortunately, is full of things that we don't like, but we have to go through them, we have to face them. So that's number one, okay? That's fear. People take all the other emotions and they gladly make it a part of their life. When it comes to fear, we pack it up, we throw it away. We don't want to see it or hear about it. For very logical and good reasons. We don't want to deal with the situations that cause us fear, but that's the problem. When we suddenly face fear in reality, we have shut the door so many times that we're not used to it now. Now is not the time to try to get used to it. Okay? That's number one. Number two, you're in a situation that you don't have a plan for. You've never experienced before. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do something because you haven't learned that situation and what to do in that situation. So now you got to change that around. What you need to do, this training here that we do here on the mat, these courses, training environments, they're great and they're a place for us to practice physically, but that can't be the end of it. It's not enough training, no matter who you are. Your best training environment is here. It's in your mind. You can make your mind believe whatever you want it to believe. That's how powerful it is. And what you need to do is every single day, whenever you have free moments, which we have millions of free moments, we just pretend that we don't, all right? Especially in our mind. Before you go to bed, you wake up, you're eating your lunch, whatever it is, you take every single worst case situation that you have out there, the ones that scare you, the ones that complicate you, the videos that you see that we say, man, I hope I never find myself in those situations. And you start to put yourself in those situations in your mind. And you start to train, okay, so what would I do? The person's coming at me this way, what would I do? If that doesn't work, what would I do? They switch hands, what would I do? Another person comes in, what would I do? And what you're doing in those moments is you are actually training, no different than we're training here and going through physical motion, because your mind does not know the difference. Your mind doesn't know the difference. And the beauty of it, just like in training with your mind, we can make all the mistakes. We can slow things down. We can get a list of all the what ifs, and then we can start to put ourselves in those predicaments. So what you're doing there, instinctive response, you are filling up that filing cabinet of plans for your mind to pull from. You are now making plans. The biggest mistake people make is they start to plan when a knife is on its way. Too late. Too late. It's like I tell everybody out there, what is the number one thing that's going to dictate whether or not you're going to survive the situation? There's only one thing. What is it? Mindset. Not even your mindset. Below, it's above mindset. It's luck. For every single one of us, it's luck. We could have all the right tools and answers and capabilities, but that day, we step on a little patch of ice, our leg goes flying up, he's on top of us, driving that knife into us. It's luck first and foremost. That is why our very first objective is to avoid every bad situation, because on that day, luck may not be on our side. Whereas every other day, it's on our side, it's not our side that day. After luck comes your mindset. Quick story about mindset. Just sharing this story with Bert. So this was about 15 years ago, plus or minus. Police officer in Canada, somewhere in the Midwest, I think Calgary or Edmonton, I don't remember exactly where now. So he responds to a domestic assault call. He's by himself. He approaches the door of the house, and out comes bursting the husband. This guy's all crazy. He's drunk or high on drugs. I don't remember exactly which one it was. He's got a long, violent criminal history. He doesn't like the police. He's got a big butcher knife. He tackles this officer to the ground, and he starts plunging this knife into the officer. This officer's got no training other than training that he's been given throughout his policing training, which is absolutely worth nothing. He's sitting there, he's obviously trying to do everything to survive. And in that moment, he's trying to create a plan, okay? He gets stabbed 48 times. Gets to the point that he's lost enough blood that he actually sees his world starting to disappear, to fade, all right? Because it's what ends up happening. You start to lose enough blood, okay? And your mind starts to shut down. You start to see black. Until it's time, just like those old TVs, you shut them off, the picture will disappear to one little dot there and then disappear. That's what happens. Gets to that point where it's almost all black, and all of a sudden it freezes. He has this image of his little boy that pops up. This kid was maybe 7 or 8 years old at the time, from what I remember. And this question hits him. He hears this voice asking him, who's going to raise your kid? And in that moment, all of a sudden, he said, there's no freaking way that anybody else is raising that kid. His whole world started to come back, and he started to fight. Managed to get control of that arm, managed to reverse this guy, pulled his gun out, emptied his gun into him. The bad guy was dead, officer passed out, but backup came, he managed to get him to the hospital in time and saved him, okay? That is mindset. Develop mindset. We're not born with anything. We're born with nothing, and it's up to us to put in whatever it is that we want into what we want to be, okay? And that is mindset. Mindset comes from, number one, telling yourself, I'm not giving up no matter what. There's no choice. I am not giving up. Okay? I'm going to show you guys, through our time tomorrow, remind me if I forget, I'm going to bring my laptop. I'm going to show you guys a clip of some of the crowd training that we go through at our Special Forces Cantera School in Israel, develop a mindset. Okay? Remind me and I'll show you. So mindset comes from the type of training, how you train. Okay? There's physical and tactical things that you do to develop mindset. There is the emotional aspect of the desire to have that mindset and to not give up. You get hit, it hurts, who cares? Do I want to give into the pain right now and give up? Or do I say, fuck it, it's part of life and I still have to keep going? Okay? So it's how the mindset that you have to develop your mindset. Okay? And then there is, like I said, the tactical aspect of it, of having that plan of what to do. And in your mind every day, you're in those situations, training over and over and over again, you're developing all those plans. And that is where you see people, they get in situations and it's over right away, they did everything perfectly because they're prepared for it. Mindset versus tactical physical ability, I'll tell you right now, but those who have a proper mindset have far greater chances of surviving than those who have the physical, technical proficiency lacking the mindset. This is where you see, guys walking into the octagon, the UFC, and everybody's been following their training, and these guys are just phenomenal. That's the guy that's going to win, and they're out within 1-2 punches in the first couple rounds. Nothing. Yeah, they can do this nice and all day long, quicker and better than anybody, but they don't have this. You don't have the mindset, the rest doesn't matter. I know guys who were nothing physically and technically, and they were put in some scary situations, and they won. They won quite the victory because in their mind they said, I'm not freaking losing. So, those are the things that I've been fortunate enough to discover and to learn in my life that have given me a lot of resources and tools emotionally and mentally to be able to get myself to a point that I've so far been fortunate enough to be able to navigate through a lot of things that I've been through in life. That is the best advice that I can give you, okay? A lot of this training for people is fake and superficial. They go, they join because it's a thing to do, because, well, yeah, I train, 2-3 times a week, I'm in kickboxing, whatever the hell it is, so I train. They make themselves believe that, but that's just on the exterior. On the inside, there's nothing there that really matters, that counts, okay? So you gotta make that happen for yourselves. You're doing the part, definitely physically here, you're all physically here. Okay, so that we know. Mentally, emotionally, you got to be working harder and smarter than you are here on the mat. And that is what counts at the end of the game. All right? Answer your question? Okay. Fantastic. Any other questions that don't require as many words? No, I'm just kidding. Anybody have any other questions on anything?